Well, hi everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alton. I'm so glad you could join me once again. Today, I have for you another prototype. This is, in fact, the third prototype that I've seen from Vanbanner watches, and I have a great relationship with LV, the owner of Vanbanner watches, and I am excited to bring you today the third offering. This is the first one, the Trilobita, which is a beautiful blue dial with a green seconds hand. Love this thing. I would love to see this in 40 millimeters. I think it would be killer. Right now it's, I think, just over 44. But we're not talking about that one today. We are talking about the latest offering. I'm really excited to show it to you. Check this out. This is the Vanbanner Lee. The word Lee means grassland or meadow, which makes this the perfect name for this field diver. No, they're not calling it a field diver, I don't think, in their literature, but to me, that's exactly what it is. It combines the best features of a field watch with the best features of a dive watch. So on the dive watch side of things, you have this, of course, nice clicky bezel, which actually has some pretty great action for a prototype. On the field side of things, you've got the large legible numerals and that green vibe going on. It just looks like it should be out in the field exploring and doing its thing. It's like a dive watch in that it's 300 meters of water resistance. So you can see that this thing really can do a lot for you. Now, one of the most striking things about the Vanbanner Lee is this case. You can see the signed crown there with the Vanbanner logo, screw down crown, of course, at 300 meters of water resistance. But check out the industrial design they have going on here. The case is completely brushed. It actually looks almost like bead blasted. It's very matte. I'm not exactly sure what the process is. I'll try to find that in literature, but not a polished bit on it, with the exception of a little bit on this name tag on the other side. Vanbanner watches with some kind of stamped rivets on either side. Very, very interesting design detail. Now flipping this back over, you'll see that there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skipping the 6 for the date, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then on the outer chapter ring, you've got the minutes in 5-minute increments. The date window is kind of a nice complication in that you can see 3 numbers quite clearly with an arrow in the middle pointing to the correct one. It says Lee, water resistance 300, or WR, and then automatic there, cutting out the 30 at the bottom. And then a great big triangle, which is a bit of a pilot's watch nod there at the 12. So this is definitely an interesting watch with a lot going on. The bezel on this prototype has some pretty good action, but here's the thing. This is a very early prototype, so it really is hard to judge the final production model based upon this. For example, the screw down crown is extremely gritty. It does hack hand wind. We'll talk about the movement in a bit, but in this prototype, I would say one of the worst crowns I've ever seen, and hopefully, knowing LV the way he is with his desire to get things right, he would make sure that that is fixed in the final prototype and the production model, of course. But really, I have to say, I dig that dial. For some of you, it might be about the industrial case, wanting something a little bit different, but I really like that dial. The kind of mossy green, which is hard to capture on camera, of that raised track. And then there's a second lower level where you find the hour markers, but actually, it's kind of hard to pick up, but that's actually a sandwich dial. So there's 3 different layers to this dial, which gives it a lot of visual interest, but also in a subtle sort of way. I really dig the green font and the green outline around the date window here and that big green marker at the 12. They're just I don't know. It's kind of a mishmash of a bunch of different genres and styles, but for me, it just kind of works. I really, really like it. Now, today I have it on this NATO strap. This is a really nice NATO strap from Vario, Zulu style strap, I should say. On the back, you'll see the case back there and the movement. There will be some design changes. I believe the case back is part of that. We'll cover that in a minute as well. Screw down case back, of course. It's pretty hard to have 300 meters of water resistance without that. Let's get into dimensions. So throwing this on the calipers, we see it is 45 millimeters in width at the bezel. Pin to pin, which you don't often see reviewers do, but I think could be useful, is 51.2. And if we're talking lug to lug, we are looking at 52.5. And the thickness of the watch is 13.6. So all in all, this is a fairly large watch. And I think this is for those of you who like large watches, and there's quite a few of you out there. Now, this strap did not come on the Lee. It came on actually a really nice canvas strap. Really, really nice canvas strap. However, this strap is just a little thick, and I found that it added quite a bit of bulk to the watch. It's only 13.5 millimeters thick, which for a watch this big isn't bad at all. But, you know, you can get a few extra millimeters just through all this extra fabric. So that's why I threw it on that single pass Zulu. And then Vanbanner also sent me this bad boy here, a nice leather strap. And so we'll try it on both of those and see what it looks like. Okay, so here it is on the supplied leather strap on my 8-inch wrist. And you can see that it does wear large, but it also depends on the size, the shape of your wrist. So I have a pretty narrow wrist here at the top. 50 millimeters is kind of my longest preferred length of a watch. If the watch kind of curves down, and if it's on a two-piece strap, it does help a little bit. But you can see that here on my wrist on this strap, it doesn't lay flat on there on the left side. A little bit better if you do this. But for me, I think I would want this on a two-piece strap. But I will say, if you have the wrist for it, it definitely has a lot of presence. But it also is something that you will not find anywhere else. Okay, I don't know where he got this strap, but this is a fantastically made strap. Again, I'm not using it because of its bulk, but I think on a slimmer watch, on a watch that's maybe 20 millimeters, this strap would be just fantastic. It has a nice soft lining. I really like that color. Like a very subdued army green color, which is kind of hard to pick up under these lights. Yeah, looks very good. But you can see how it sits just a little bit better with this. And with a two-piece strap, you don't have this gap on the side. It just goes straight down. And I could easily pull this off on a two-piece strap. Unfortunately, and I forgot to mention this earlier, it's a 24 millimeter lug opening. So I just gave away, I think, my last 24 millimeter strap. I don't have any more. I sold my last watch with 24 millimeter lug openings. So I was tempted. I almost went to Barton Bands and made an order for this watch, even though I don't own it. They have a nice green canvas strap that I think would look amazing on this. Well, there you go. So I did look it up. It's 360L stainless steel with a sandblasted case, which has a really nice silvery gray color to it. The movement is the NH35 automatic movement, which you find in a lot of these models, of course, which beats at 21,600 BPH or 3 Hertz, 24 joules, 41 hours of power reserve. The loom on this thing, and I'm going to throw up a loom shot, but the loom is fantastic. It has C3 BGW9 Swiss Super Luminova, and it really, really does glow. The crystal is a flat sapphire crystal with AR coating, and this one has some AR coating on it right now, but this prototype is going to be upgraded and it's going to have even more premium AR coating on it. The strap is, as I said, 24 millimeters. It's going to come with 3 different straps, at least for the early adopters, and we'll talk about that in a second. It's going to come with 3 different styles. 2 of them will be this NATO style. I believe this is going to be one of them. And I think for the right person, the right wrist, you're going to really, really dig this strap. It's very well made. It's going to also come with a 2-piece strap, and you can learn more about that as LV makes those details more well known in the near future. The warranty on these is 1 year from the date of shipping, and you'll get a digital warranty card with it. Now, right now, as of the time of this release, they're offering this watch, this Vanbanner Lee, at an introductory rate of around 258 USD. And I say around because it's going to be released at 328 Canadian dollars. And so it just depends on the exchange rate at the time of purchase. But if you want one of these, I would say hop on it now, get in on this at 250 or so dollars, because it's going to go up to about $335, $337, depending on the exchange rate. So that's a jump from 328 Canadian dollars to 428 Canadian dollars, or 258 USD to 337 USD. And I have to say, if you're having a sapphire crystal, a very unique dial, a very unique case, sapphire crystal with AR coating. Yes, it has an NH35, but I mean, at this price point, that's basically what you're going to get, unless you're going to get a Miyota 8000 series movement. But in my opinion, this one's just a little bit better than that. I mean, $250, that's a pretty great deal. If you have the wrist to pull this off, if you dig the military aesthetic, if this is something that interests you, if you want a watch that nobody else is going to be wearing, then I think this is absolutely something that you should check out. Now, of course, all of this is contingent upon LV getting this right in the manufacturing, because this prototype definitely is a little bit rough. The crown, the edge of that top layer, you can kind of see is a little bit rough. Of course, now I'm looking at it under macro, right, on Instagram. But I mean, it just needs to be overall polished. But knowing LV as well as I've gotten to know him over the last year or so, I have full confidence that he will ensure that this is done well. Again, I'm no prophet, I can't predict the future, but I think this might be a watch that is worth taking a gamble on. Well, I'd really like to thank Vanbanner Watches for showing me this awesome prototype. I was so excited when I saw pictures, and I'm really excited to show it to you all today. This is its first debut on video, but it is going to go to a bunch of reviewers around the world. I know he's got big plans to promote this piece. He believes in this piece, and there's been quite a bit of interest in this piece. So look for more reviews of this in the weeks to come. But again, thank you for watching. I always appreciate it. If you feel like liking, go ahead and do that. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and do that. But I can't tell you what to do. I'm not your dad.